I'm going to say something right now, and I want Bears fans everywhere to hear this clearly. The most dangerous quarterback in the NFC North heading into 2026 is not the most statistically polished one. He is not the one with the highest completion percentage. He is not the one who the national media is falling over themselves to crown. No, the most dangerous quarterback in this conference right now is the one who is sitting somewhere logging every slight, cataloging every dismissal, and carrying every unfair take like ammunition. Caleb Williams is petty. Caleb Williams remembers everything. And Caleb Williams is about to make the entire NFL pay for it. I'm Fave, and this is Faves. Let's get into it. We have 3 stories today that all connect to tell you exactly what kind of season is coming in Chicago. The first one is the most fun, the most personal, and frankly, the most Caleb Williams thing I have ever heard. The second one is going to make you understand just how high the ceiling is for this quarterback from the perspective of a 4-time Pro Bowl passer who played this game at a high level for over a decade. And the third one is about the first Chicago Bear to land on the NFL Top 100 Players list for 2026 and why his placement there is only the beginning of what this roster is going to show the rest of the league. So buckle up. This one is going to be fun. Let's start with Caleb Williams on Barstool Sports' Pardon My Take podcast, because what he said in that interview is the kind of thing that should have every Bears fan absolutely fired up heading into training camp. Look, there has been this narrative all offseason that Caleb Williams' head is getting big. He is on the cover of the 27. He had 7 fourth-quarter comebacks last season. He is the face of a franchise that is legitimately going towards that he's going to stop grinding, that the hunger is going to fade. Well, Caleb Williams addressed that directly on Pardon My Take. And the way he addressed it tells you everything you need to know about who this young man actually is. When host Big Cat asked Williams about how he handles criticism, Williams was candid. As reported by Sports Illustrated, he said, and I'm paraphrasing here because this is a voiceover, that you simply cannot avoid seeing what people are saying about you. Anyone who claims they ignore it all is not being straight with you. But here is the part that I absolutely love. Williams went further than just acknowledging it. He said there are reporters and analysts whose takes he has filed away permanently in his memory. He said sometimes when he shakes their hand in person, he squeezes a little harder. That is elite pettiness. That is the kind of competitive fire that separates good quarterbacks from great ones. And every Bears fan should be absolutely thrilled that this is the mindset walking into year 3. Now let's talk about who he is almost certainly referring to, because the internet has already connected the dots, and honestly, it is not a difficult puzzle to solve. During a Monday Night Football broadcast last season, ESPN broadcaster Troy Aikman gave Caleb Williams grief. And this is where it gets good, not even about his in-game performance, but because Williams had missed an in-week pregame production meeting before the broadcast. As multiple reports have documented, Aikman proceeded to call the Bears quarterback and the entire Chicago offense lucky throughout that game, while spending much of the broadcast heaping praise on Washington Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels. The Bears then rallied and won, and by all accounts, Aikman was at a loss for words when that final whistle blew. Now fast forward to Caleb Williams on a nationally distributed podcast saying he squeezes certain people's hands harder when he sees them in person. You do the math. And here's Fave's take on this, because I think it is important to say it plainly. Caleb Williams is right to feel that way. The man led this team to 7 fourth-quarter comebacks last season. He was the engine behind one of the most dramatic stretches of late-game football this city has seen in decades. And he did it while completing just 1% of his passes, which, yes, is a legitimate criticism, but he also did it learning a brand new offensive system from a brand new head coach, essentially having to unlearn everything that was drilled into him under the previous staff. According to The Athletic's Dan Wiederer, Williams and Ben Johnson have been laser-focused this offseason on one specific goal, spiking that completion percentage and improving ball location on every single throw he makes in practice. The entire offseason program has been built around that obsession. If Williams hits even 65% completion rate in 2026 with the same late-game magic and the same arm talent, this league has a serious problem on its hands. And then there are the media slights piling up that Caleb Williams is absolutely cataloging right now. According to Sports Illustrated, ESPN's Bill Barnwell ranks Chicago's skill position group 15th in the league heading into 2026. 15th, This is a team that finished 6th on offense last season, and they did it with Colston Loveland and Luther Burden in their first NFL seasons. They did it without a fully optimized scheme because they were still in year 1 of the Johnson era. And Barnwell puts them 15th. As reported by multiple outlets, Williams is also ranked 70th overall on the CBS Top 100 player list, slotted behind both Drake May and Trevor Lawrence. You better believe Caleb Williams has seen all of it. He is logging every single take, and it is fuel. Pure, high-octane fuel. Then there is the Iceman trademark situation, which honestly made me laugh out loud when I heard the full story. Williams applied to trademark his Iceman nickname, which, if you watched any Bears game last season, fits him perfectly. This man is ice cold in the fourth quarter, and he proved it over and over again. But the United States Patent and Trademark Office initially refused his application, and the reason is genuinely hilarious. It was not because of basketball legend George Gervin, who has his own Iceman legacy and whose team actually submitted a competing trademark claim. According to ESPN's Michael Rothstein, the real reason Williams' application was blocked is that a footwear company called Lacrosse, an Oregon-based boot company, has owned the trademark on the name Iceman for its insulated boot line since 1988. A boot company. Caleb Williams cannot trademark Iceman because of a boot company from 1988. Fave's personal opinion, he is going to appeal, he is going to win eventually, and the whole situation is just another chip on an already very large shoulder. Good. Keep stacking them. Now let's talk about the second story, because this is where things shift from fun to genuinely meaningful for what this Bears season could look like. Former NFL quarterback and 4-time Pro Bowler Derek Carr, a man who played this game at an elite level for over a decade and who knows what it takes to develop as a quarterback in this league, went on his podcast called Homegrown with David and Derek Carr and made a statement about Caleb Williams that should stop every skeptic in their tracks. As reported by City Sports and Sports Mockery, Carr said that the scary part about Caleb Williams is that he is not even close to his ceiling. And then he went further, saying that the marriage between Williams and Ben Johnson means the future is very bright for Chicago. Now, I want to sit with that phrase for a moment. A 4-time Pro Bowl quarterback, someone who has played in pressure games, who has been in big moments, who has watched film at the highest level, looks at Caleb Williams in year 2 of Ben Johnson's system, and his takeaway is not that he's a good player who got lucky on some fourth quarter drives. His takeaway is that what we saw last year was the floor, that what we saw last year was the worst version of Caleb Williams in this offense. And here is why that framing matters so much. On the Homegrown podcast, Carr and his brother David broke down the actual tape from Williams' 2025 season, and as Sports Mockery reported from that breakdown, what stood out was how incrementally Williams grew as the season progressed, how he essentially had to deprogram habits that had been built under his previous coaching staff, habits that took time to identify and unlearn, and how his command of Ben Johnson's complex scheme grew noticeably as the year went on. You cannot evaluate those 2025 numbers in a vacuum. You have to understand the context of what that year actually was. It was a rebuilding year for a quarterback's mechanics and mental framework, and he still delivered 7 comeback wins. The Athletic's Dan Wiederer reported in late June that nothing is more important to the Bears' future than the continued ascent of Caleb Williams. And nothing is more important to that ascent than his growing connection with Ben Johnson. That connection is being built right now. Every single practice rep this offseason has reportedly been graded on ball location. Every throw. Ben Johnson has set 65 to 70% completion rate as the benchmark for what he expects from his quarterback in year 2. Let's think about what that looks like. Last season, Williams threw for 3,900 yards while completing just over 58% of his passes. He was just a handful of yards away from becoming the first 4,000-yard passer in Chicago Bears history. If his completion rate spikes even modestly, if his ball location continues to improve, if the familiarity with Johnson's scheme continues to deepen, you are looking at a legitimate MVP conversation. Kay Adams on her Up and Adams podcast already had Caleb Williams in her dark horse MVP conversation for 2026. Derek Carr sees it from his film work, and Fave sees it from watching this team all year. The arrow is pointing one direction, and it is pointing up. Now let's get to the third story, and this one is about a man who does not get nearly enough national love. Montez Sweat was voted number 91 on the NFL Top 100 Players of 2026 list. a list, crucially, that is voted on by the players themselves. These are not media votes. These are not fan polls. The players around the league, the people who go up against Montez Sweat or who watch film preparing for the Bears' defensive front, those are the people who put him at number 91, and that peer recognition matters. Let's go through what Montez Sweat actually did last season, because I think some people in the national conversation have not fully appreciated it. According to the official Bears press release, he finished 2025 with 10 sacks, 53 tackles, 13 tackles for loss, 3 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and 5 pass breakups. And then there's the number that most people are not talking about. According to Roundtable, he led the entire NFL, all defensive positions, not just edge rushers, in turnovers caused by pressure. All of them, every position on defense. That is an elite stat. That is a stat that tells you this man is not just getting sacks. He is affecting games, disrupting offenses, and creating chaos at the point of attack in ways that change outcomes. And this is what makes the Montez Sweat conversation so important heading into 2026. As reported directly by the Chicago Bears, head coach Ben Johnson said during minicamp that he would argue last season was the best year of Sweat's career, and he said that with the qualifier that the stats may not fully tell that story. Think about what that means coming from a head coach. Johnson is saying that when you watch the full tape, when you do the real evaluation of how Sweat played the run, how he set the edge, how he played within the scheme, the picture is even better than what the box score shows. That is a statement of enormous confidence, and it is being made about a player entering year 2 under Dennis Allen's defensive system, which means the comfort and the chemistry in that scheme should only improve. According to Bleacher Report, Sweat has now had 2 double-digit sack seasons in 3 years. He was previously ranked 82nd on the top 100 list for 2024, and he moved to 981st for 2026. But here is the thing about that number. 981 is the first Bears player to be named to the 2026 top 100. The first. And yet when you look at the full roster this team has assembled, that number feels almost comically low in terms of how many Bears players should end up on this list. Caleb Williams, Jaylon Johnson, Colston Loveland, Luther Burden, Dylan Thieneman. DeAndre Swift had a strong season. Kyler Gordon, when healthy, is one of the better slot corners in football. This team has legitimate top 100 caliber players at multiple positions. If this is an honest list by the time it is complete, you are going to see Chicago Bears names showing up again and again. Max Crosby, who was featured in the NFL's official video package announcing Sweat's ranking, went on record talking about his respect for Sweat, specifically mentioning how both ran at the 2019 NFL Scouting Combine and how Sweat's 4.41 40-yard dash was the fastest time among all defensive linemen that year. Max Crosby, one of the best edge rushers in football, is paying public respect to Montez Sweat on a nationally distributed NFL Films production. That tells you something. These players watch the same tape you do. And when they pull out their votes for the best 100 players in the league, they are putting Montez Sweat on it. So when you step back and look at all 3 of these stories together, what does the picture actually look like? You have a quarterback who is more motivated than ever, who is logging every slight from every announcer and analyst who has underestimated him, who sat on Pardon My Take and told the world that he squeezes certain people's hands harder when he sees them. You have a 4-time Pro Bowler who has broken down the tape and come away saying that what the Bears have in Caleb Williams is not even close to what he is capable of becoming. And you have the first player on this Bears roster to land on the NFL top 100. And he is a cornerstone defensive pass rusher entering year 2 in a system that is tailor-made for him to take another step forward. Here is Fave's bottom line. This Bears team is not flying under the radar anymore. They won the NFC North. They beat the Green Bay Packers twice in the same season. They went to the playoffs. The expectations are real, and they are growing. And right at the center of everything is a 24-year-old quarterback who's not just hungry, he is specifically and precisely hungry. He knows who said what. He knows which analyst ranked his position group 15th. He knows who called his offense lucky. He is shaking certain hands a little harder. And in a couple of months, when the lights come on at Soldier Field and the Bears take the field for a season that could define this entire era of Chicago football, all of that stored up energy is going to come out. You do not want to be on the wrong side of Caleb Williams when that happens. Trust me. Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Do you think the media is still sleeping on Caleb Williams heading into year 3? And who do you think is the next Bears player to land on that NFL top 100 list? I want to see your answers below. If this video got you fired up the way it got me fired up, smash that like button and subscribe to Faves right now. We are building something real here, and I want every Bears fan in this community before this season kicks off. Bear down. I'll see you in the next one.